Hey there, and welcome back to the Money, Mindset, and Manifestation podcast. I'm your host, Tidra Chanel. I recorded this episode already, but I am re-recording it because of a couple of things. This was supposed to be officially the first podcast of 2022. But in the other recording, I actually said that I was not going to change the name, which ultimately I did change the name. So I decided for that reason, instead of just doing some editing to edit that out, I would have had to do too much editing. So I was like, let me just re-record this episode. So if you guys listened to the previous episode where I talked about quantum jumping, I did not get a chance to say Happy New Year because it was officially the second episode of the year. So we're kind of going backwards. So I'm going to take this moment to say Happy New Year. I hope that your 2022 is off to a great start. And I'm wishing each and every one of you a prosperous, successful, miracle-filled 2022. So we're going to hop right into today's episode. So as you all can see by the title, we are going to be talking about when I manifested one of my luxury apartments. And I really wanted this to be the first episode of the year because I really wanted to be able to encourage you guys to stick to your manifestations and stick to your rituals and stay focused on your goals because anything can happen. Let's pause. Let's put a pin in that because I'm kind of jumping ahead. I also wanted to mention, in addition to me actually changing the name of the podcast, I did unpublish all of the previous episodes because I just wanted to start this year with clean, fresh energy, right? New vibes this year. And there's nothing wrong with the previous episodes. I just wanted to start from scratch. I wanted to start anew this year. And I've also unpublished most of my journals. We still have published the I Am Manifestation Journal. That's the one that everyone absolutely loves, which is amazing. And I will be putting out at least 5 more journals this year. I actually have one that hopefully will be live this week. So you guys are listening to this episode on Monday. Today is the 24th, January 24th. The journal should be live hopefully by tomorrow. And I will post it on my socials to let you guys know, but it is an affirmation. It's not even a journal. And I don't know why I keep calling it a journal because it is not a journal. It is an affirmation book. Okay, so it's a book that is full of affirmations that touch on self-love, relationship type love, money, success, all of the things. It's absolutely gratitude. It's really, really dope. And so hopefully this week we will see that go live on Amazon, but of course I will let you guys know. But the other journals, I haven't done it yet, but I will be unpublishing those as well because I just want to start fresh this year. And I want to put out different types of journals and planners that are going to help you guys on your journey. So I did want to say that. Now, let's go back to let's go way back. Let's go back to 2013. That was the year. So 2013, me and my kids, we were living in a very small apartment. And a few years prior, I had left an abusive relationship. Very, very abusive relationship with a incredibly narcissistic individual. And I was broke. I was broken at this time. And so my credit was shot to shit. And I really couldn't afford anything. I couldn't afford to breathe. but I had to find something. And so my mom found this very affordable community, and I think my rent was $578, and it was just a 1 bedroom. No, actually, it was a 2 bedroom. One room for me, one room for my kids, and we were just kind of crammed in this very small apartment in an area that I didn't love, and it was roach infested. To the point, I mean, it was really, really bad, and nothing worked. Nothing, no extermination, no bombing, nothing worked. So I went to the leasing office and I said, look, I am not used to this. I cannot live like this. I don't want my kids in this type of environment. It didn't matter how clean you were. When you're sharing walls with people, that's kind of, it can happen. So she said, oh, well, we haven't heard of anyone else complaining. And I'm thinking, lies. There's no way. So she moved me to another apartment that was slightly cheaper, because at $578 I couldn't afford. And I think it was a 1 bedroom with a study. And so that study was used as a bedroom for my kids. And I want to say it was maybe $50 cheaper a month. It wasn't that much cheaper, I think. And it was in a completely different building. The first unit was in the back. This unit was in the front. And I think the roach problem was even worse. It was even worse. And I was like, oh my God. But we ended up living there for like a year and a half, I want to say. And this is when I saw Think and Grow Rich. Someone had posted it, and I saw it on the Explore page. And I was like, the title captured my attention immediately, because I was broke. I was broke. Are y'all on TikTok? Where there was this creator who said, are you broke or are you just depressed? And this guy, he was like, I'm both. He said both of them. I'm the broke. I'm bro-pressed. Oh my God. I had to show my daughter that last night. Every time I think about it, I just laugh. It is so funny. But that was my energy at the time. So when I saw the title Think and Grow Rich, I was like, oh my God, I have to get this book. So I went on Amazon and I found it for like $3.99, $4.32 with tax. I found a used copy of it, and I still to this day have that copy, because that book changed my life. And if you have been a follower of mine, a supporter of mine for a minute, you know that Think and Grow Rich is like my Bible, and I think I have 4 copies of it at this point, because I love the book so much, and it has really shifted my mindset. And that's where the wheels started to turn, and that's where or when I really started to change the way that I thought. That book taught me that I am powerful, and I don't have to depend on an outside source to tap into my power, right? So y'all know, previously I was super religious. I went to church, 8 days a week and twice on Sunday. Y'all know my story. And I still believe in God, yes, but I don't practice religion at all. But this book really just taught me so much and opened up my eyes. So there began my journey. So at this point, I knew that I was settling, and that there was a part of me that aligned with this place. And I needed to no longer align with this place. So I needed to do some inner work. I needed to raise my vibration so that I could start bringing in some money in order to move. So I got fed up. Honestly, I was fed up. My car was repossessed. I was fed up. And I was like, something has to change. So I rented a U-Haul. One of my friends at the time, she came and got me, took me to the U-Haul place, because I didn't have a car. And I don't know if Uber was a thing. And if it was a thing, I couldn't afford it at that time, back in 2013. And so she came and got me. I got the U-Haul. And I had my mom babysitting my kids. And I literally loaded up the U-Haul all by myself. sofas, dressers. I did everything by myself. And I put everything into storage. But once or before I actually closed the door to the U-Haul, I actually set off bombs in the truck because I didn't want to bring any roaches with me. So I bombed the truck and then put everything into storage, cleaned the truck, and then I bombed the storage. I bombed yet again. And so everything stayed in storage, and I went and actually stayed. We went and stayed with a friend of mine for like a week or two. And in that week or two, I actually was able to find a job and an apartment. Okay, so this particular apartment was not brand new, but it was newly renovated. And so we chose a unit where we were the first to live in it after the renovation. So it wasn't luxury because it was an older community, but everything was brand new. The toilet was brand new, stove, refrigerator, everything was brand new, the walls, you know. And it was really cool. It was nice. And we stayed there for a year and a half. And then shit started to go downhill yet again. Okay. And I was like, oh my God, what is happening? The energy started to shift. I ended up losing my job. And I had went through my savings, you know, paying my rent. And then all of a sudden I couldn't pay my rent anymore. And I was like, oh my God, I need a shift. I need a shake up in the energy. I felt like everything was very stagnant and I needed something different. So at the time, my credit wasn't like horrible, but it wasn't great either. Now, when I left the roach infested apartment, I broke the lease. Okay, I literally just signed a new lease maybe 2 or 3 months prior, and then I was over it. I said, I have to get my kids out of this environment, so I broke the lease. So I have a broken lease on my credit. Keep that in mind. Okay. But I was able to get the new apartment because it hadn't hit my credit yet. Right. So I was able to get approved for this apartment that we stayed in for a year and a half. And then I lost my job. I was able to kind of make it for a few months, using my savings to pay my bills, and then nothing. Okay. I didn't have anyone. I had small kids at the time, no one to watch my children. I couldn't afford daycare. Y'all know how expensive it is, yada, yada, yada. So then I decided I wanted to move back to Dallas, Frisco to be exact, because I love Dallas. Well, I love Frisco. I don't know nothing about Dallas. I love Frisco, which is far north Dallas. Like it's a suburb way up there. From Dallas. It's about 45 minutes to an hour from downtown Dallas. And I love it so much. I truly believe that I lived there on that land in a previous life because I'm so connected to Frisco. I love it so much. And so I really wanted to go back. But I was like, oh, I don't have any money. I don't have a job. I have this freaking broken lease on my credit. What is I'm gonna do, right? I literally had no money. I started selling things that I had in this apartment to get a little bit of money, okay? Because remember, I was broke. Broke and depressed. Lord have mercy. So, I've been doing this at this point, this manifestation thing for a few years because we're in a couple of years. We're in 2015 at this point. Wait a minute. I'm getting my dates all off. No, we moved into the other apartment, the horrible apartment. It hasn't been 2012. Yeah, because a year and a half and a year and a half is 3 years because we're in 2015 or 16, 2015. So anyway, so I started looking online at apartments in Frisco. And I found this townhome that would be perfect. It was only 1 bedroom. I had the twins at the time, 2016. They were about 6. And then Carmody was 3. And so, I have my 3 small children. And all I could halfway think about affording was a 1 bedroom. But it was a townhome, and I was like, it'll be enough. The kids can take the room. I can sleep in the living room. We can all sleep in a room. We'll figure it out. And there was an attached garage for my car, which was great. So I called and they told me how much the rent was. I don't remember. It was like $1,000 and something. And there was an app and an admin fee and a deposit that would have equaled somewhere around $300 or maybe $350. I didn't have $350 to apply for this place, nor did I think that I would get approved because I have this broken lease. So I called and I asked about the rent, the app and admin, deposit. Were there any specials? There were no move-in specials. And I also asked if they work with people with broken leases, and they told me no. But I knowed that I wanted that place because it had like a playground and a beautiful pool, and there was this walking trail with a lake, and I was like, my kids would love it here. And so I didn't look anywhere else. I just went to bed one night. It was Saturday. It was a Saturday night. I was half asleep, and I said, this is what I need. I need for them to accept my broken lease, and I need for them to have at least a 6-week free special, which means I wouldn't have had to pay my rent for 6 weeks. And I also want the app, admin, and deposit to be waived as a part of the promotion. And I went to sleep. I didn't think about it. I wasn't harping on it. And I want you guys to really catch the tips that I'm throwing in this episode, okay? So I said what I wanted and I went to sleep. When you are manifesting, it's always a really good idea to state your intention as you are half asleep, right? Because your conscious mind and your subconscious mind, they're not able to fight. Your conscious mind is not able to fight your subconscious mind because consciously you're half asleep, right? So this is like the best time to state your intentions, and I did. So Tuesday morning, I received an email because remember I did call and I gave them my email and number and stuff like that. And when you do that, they put you on their mailing list, and if anything, as far as inventory specials, anything like that, they'll shoot you an email. So on the Tuesday after the Saturday, so Saturday, Sunday, Monday, 3 days later, I received this email talking about a brand new special that just started today. And I actually shared this story on my YouTube channel some years ago, and I even showed the copy of the email. And the email basically said that there's a brand new special where they're giving 6 weeks free up front, and app admin and deposit are waived, which meant that I could apply and not be charged. In theory, right? So I called and I spoke to a different leasing agent. I think he was actually the assistant manager. And again, I was very honest. I was like, I do have this broken lease on my credit, blah, blah, blah. And he was like, you know what? Just go ahead and apply anyway. And I'll get to look at your credit and I can tell you what we can do. So I said, okay, cool. I said, how does the waived app and admin and stuff work? Because typically when you apply online, you still have to put in your credit card information, and they still will charge you for the app, or not necessarily the app and admin, but for sure the deposit. And what they'll do is they'll give you a credit upon move-in. Well, I didn't have the money for the deposit, which I think was either $100 or $150. I did not have that. So as I was applying, sure enough, it kept asking me for a credit card. And I was like, I don't want to put in my credit card information because it's going to be denied or it's going to overdraft my account because I don't have the money. So I ended up calling the guy back, and he says, okay, well, it shouldn't be asking you for your credit card, but let me run it over the phone. Let me do it on my end. So I gave him, or he was able to pull up my application and process it from there. And he said, I'm going to call you back in a day or two once the application has been ran. I think 2 or 3 days went by. I didn't hear anything. And I was like, oh my God, I must have been denied. So I ended up calling and speaking to him again. He was like, oh, I'm so sorry. We've been swamped with this moving special. I was just really, really busy. But yeah, let me go ahead and pull it up and see what's going on. So he was able to pull it up and he said, actually, we cannot, the reason your application hasn't been completed is because we cannot access your credit reports. Now, at the time, my credit reports were frozen, and they still are. And for that reason, they could not see anything on my credit report. And so he was like, can you go ahead and unfreeze it so we can take a look? And I did. I did unfreeze it, but they still could not see anything on my credit report. So he ultimately got frustrated. He was like, okay, I'm just going to go ahead and approve you. Whatever. I don't know what's going on. We can't figure it out. We can't figure out what's going on. We don't know why we cannot see your credit, access your credit reports. See how God works. So even though I had this broken lease on my credit, it did not matter because they could not see it. So it was like God cloaked my credit report. So I was approved and I was like, huh? For real? He's like, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and, put everything in the system and then you'll be able to log into the portal, sign your lease. And he's like, when do you want to come? And I was like, when can I come and get my keys? And he said, whenever you want. So I said, I'll be there in a couple of days. And so I took the time to get rid of as much stuff as possible because I had no money, y'all. When I say I was broke, I had no money. So I needed money to go from Houston to Frisco. So I'm selling stuff just to get gas money, just to get money for food. And it was 4:00, whatever morning. I can't remember what day. I want to say it was Saturday. I think it was a Saturday, and I'm almost positive because the Sunday they were closed. So I remember kind of being pressed to get there Saturday in time to get my keys. So I loaded up the car. I had just at the time I had a Chrysler. It was a sedan. It was a very small sedan at that, 4-door. And so I ended up leaving everything that I couldn't sell in the apartment. I had nowhere to move it, no way to move it. I didn't have help. I lived upstairs. I couldn't get a U-Haul, like shambles. So I packed up all important paperwork, electronics. I had our little 42-inch TV that I put in the trunk. And I packed up some toys and as much of the kids' clothes as I could get, as many as my clothes as I could. And when I say the car was packed, like there were bags on the floor. The kids had to sit Indian style. It was a mess. But I packed up as much as I possibly could. I couldn't even see out of the windows because everything was just stacked. And yeah, we left Houston at about 5:00. It took me about an hour to load everything up. And then we were headed to Frisco. So we got to Frisco around 9 something in the morning. I went in, got my keys. I had already signed everything. All I had to do was get my keys. And that is how we kind of started over. So that is the story of how I intentionally manifested my first luxury apartment, and it was super nice. We did this sight unseen. I had never seen this community other than online, but I knew exactly where it was because I did live in Frisco previously, and so I knew the area was really, really nice, but I had never been to this community or anything. I just knew it looked really nice on the pictures, but we were taking a chance. But ultimately, it was really, really nice, and we loved it. We had nothing. When I say we had nothing, we had nothing. We had no, I think I had taken a couple of bowls and, enough plates and bowls and utensils and a couple of pots and things like that. But we really had nothing. I had left everything behind. And so there was this woman that I follow on Instagram at the time, and she was living in California, but she was from Houston. And I remember her saying that she was going to Houston to clear out her storage that she had been paying on for years and blah, blah, blah. So I remember reaching out to her and I asked her if she had any furniture or any household things that she didn't want that I could take or care to have. And she was like, oh no, everything that I have is really not, it's mostly junk, pretty much. What she had left, let me put it that way. And I was like, okay, well, thank you. And she was like, well, what do you need? And I told her, I said, well, me and my kids, we just kind of moved and we don't have anything. So I said, at this point, anything would help. So she ended up going to Target and she bought a bunch of toiletries, a bunch of random stuff that was totally useful, right? And I met with her and I think she gave me some cash and the things that she had gotten from Target. And I was so grateful because that was really, really nice of her. I didn't know her. So I remember that, once I got home and started going through the things, some of the stuff we didn't need, I already had, like this strainer. It was a very nice strainer. But I already had one. And so I ended up taking that along with a couple of other things that we just didn't need back to Target or that I couldn't use, back to Target, and I got a credit and I was able to get, some other things that we actually could use. And within a week of me moving here, I had gotten hired at a work from home position, which was amazing. So I was able to work outside of the apartment. I didn't have to worry about daycare, none of that. And started making money. I was able to pay my rent. I had 6 weeks for free. Okay, so I had a little bit of breathing room and was able to bring in some money. I want to say this was November. And so, January rolled around. I was able to get my taxes and furnish the place or whatever. So we slept on air mattresses for she did buy an air mattress too. We slept on the air mattress for a couple of months, but ultimately I got back on my feet and we were able to completely start over. So the whole point of this episode is to never give up and understand that it doesn't matter what's on your credit. It doesn't matter what your circumstances currently are. When it is divine, it's going to happen. And for them to have that glitch and not be able to even see what was on my credit report, if that wasn't divine, I don't know what was. So when you are manifesting, just be very, very clear about your intentions. Have a clear picture in your mind of what you want, what you need, and when you need it by. And then when you're half asleep, state that intention, and then let it go and allow the universe and God to do what they got to do in order to make this thing happen for you. Okay. It is not hard. I'm still shocked, even telling this story to this day. I'm still very, very shocked about how it all worked out, but it worked out beautifully. So I hope that this episode kind of encouraged you all, especially those of you who are kind of in this stale space. Maybe there's some doubt creeping in and things like that. Listen, when it's for you, it's for you, right? If you need a new home, go find that home. If you want an apartment, go find the apartment and just focus on aligning with it. That's all. State your intentions as often as you need to. I only said it once. And within 72 hours, what I wanted actually lined up. And it happened for me and my children. All right. So thank you guys so much for listening. I will see you guys every single Monday right back here on the Money, Mindset, and Manifestation podcast. Please make sure that you subscribe to the podcast wherever you're listening. Go ahead and subscribe and please leave an amazing review. That really does help me out. And it also lets me know that you guys are loving these or this type of content. Okay. So we will see you guys back here next Monday. Thank you guys once again for listening to the Money, Mindset, and Manifestation podcast. Bye, y'all.